In the spring of 1901, off the tiny Greek island of Antikythera, a storm forced a crew of sponge divers to shelter in a quiet bay. Restless and waiting for calmer seas, they dove for sponges near the rocky coast. And what they found was not treasure, but history waiting to be remembered. At a depth of 45 meters, diver Elias Stadiatos surfaced in shock. He hadn't seen fish or coral. He'd seen statues scattered across the seafloor like the wreckage of another world. When archaeologists investigated, they uncovered the remains of a massive Roman-era shipwreck, loaded with marble sculptures, jewelry, glassware, and one object no one could identify: a small, rust-covered lump of bronze fused with wood. For years, it sat forgotten in the National Archaeological Museum of Athens, just another corroded relic. But when conservators finally pried the pieces apart, they saw something no one expected: gears. Tiny, precise, interlocking gears preserved by salt and time. It was an impossible discovery. Bronze gears that find weren't supposed to exist until 1,000 years later. And so a new mystery was born. Who built it? What did it do? And why had the knowledge to make it disappeared for centuries? Decade by decade, curiosity grew. Scholars reassembled the fragments, realizing they belonged to a mechanism roughly the size of a shoebox, once housed in a wooden frame. Inside were over 37 gears, each cut with microscopic precision. Greek inscriptions along the dials mentioned cycles of the sun, the moon, and the planets, words that hinted at a deeper purpose. In the 1950s, physicist Derek J. DeSola-Price devoted his career to unlocking it. Using the earliest forms of X-ray imaging, he looked inside the corroded mass and mapped each tooth, each wheel, each inscription. Price concluded that this was an analog computer of the ancient world, a machine that could predict eclipses, track the lunar phases, chart planetary positions, and mark the dates of the Panhellenic Games. Think about that. Centuries before telescopes, before Newton, before gears were common in Europe, someone had already built a mechanical model of the heavens. As the scans improved through the decades, new inscriptions appeared, tiny Greek notes giving instructions, almost like a user manual written 2 millennia ago. And suddenly, the fragments weren't just metal. They were a voice from the past, explaining how ancient engineers turned math into motion. The craftsmanship was breathtaking. Every gear meshed so smoothly that modern engineers struggled to reproduce its precision by hand. Who could have conceived it? Many historians point to the island of Rhodes, once a center for astronomy and invention. There, around 100 BCE, philosophers studied planetary motion under clear Mediterranean skies. Among their heroes was Archimedes of Syracuse, the mathematician-engineer who built defensive machines and is said to have created mechanical models of the cosmos. The Antikythera Mechanism might not have been built by him, but perhaps by someone inspired by his ideas, a generation or two after his death. Picture it: a quiet workshop lit by oil lamps, bronze dust floating in the air, a craftsman shaping a gear no larger than a coin, guided only by geometry and patience. What drove them wasn't superstition, it was understanding. They weren't worshipping the heavens, they were trying to measure them. Each tooth on each wheel represented a ratio of the cosmos itself: Earth, moon, and sun bound in bronze. Precision engineering, centuries ahead of clocks, ahead of calculus, ahead of industrial tools. So tell me, what do you think? Could it be that ancient civilizations were far more advanced than we ever dared to believe? Leave your theory in the comments. I'd love to know how you see it. And if discoveries like this fascinate you, remember to like, subscribe, and tap the bell, because the past is still full of stories we haven't heard yet. For over a century, scientists stared at the fragments, knowing what it was but not how it worked. Then came a breakthrough. Using micro-CT scans, researchers peered through the bronze without touching it. Inside, they saw hidden inscriptions, letters no wider than a grain of sand, carved by hands 2 millennia ago. Each letter described the cosmos, the cycles of Venus, Mercury, and the phases of the moon. When all plates were aligned, two faces appeared, front and back, each one a map of celestial motion. The front predicted the paths of the sun and moon through the zodiac, their phases ticking like a perfect clock. The back revealed spiral dials, tracking eclipses, lunar cycles, and even the ancient Olympic Games. But not every piece fit. CT scans showed voids, spaces where gears should have been, but aren't. Some teeth were mismatched. Ratios drifted by fractions of a degree, small errors that made big mysteries. So engineers built digital twins, turning the gears virtually, comparing motion to ancient star charts. Some models worked, others jammed, as if a few secrets had been deliberately hidden in the design. Day turns to night in the labs. Equations rise and fall, still the mechanism resists full understanding. Each failed model reveals a clue, each clue a pattern. It's not broken logic, it's unfamiliar logic, a system built by minds that saw the sky differently. Maybe we're not decoding a machine, but translating an ancient language of movement. Scientists from London to Athens still adjust, simulate, rebuild. Gear by gear, tooth by tooth, they're chasing a harmony that once existed in bronze. They test, compare, recalculate, every detail matching celestial math, and with each new attempt, a little more of the ancient logic returns to life. It's humbling. We rebuild their vision with machines they could never imagine, yet somehow they understood the universe better than we did for centuries. The past speaks slowly, but when it does, it changes everything we thought we knew. Fade out, unresolved wonder. And so the mechanism remains half known, half mystery, still turning, somewhere in the mind of time itself. The Antikythera Mechanism rests quietly in a glass case in Athens, its gears frozen, its secrets only half spoken. We now know it was no myth. It was real. Mechanical, deliberate and older than any precision gearwork ever found. It predicted eclipses, mapped the moon's shifting light, and tracked celestial cycles with uncanny accuracy. Its gears encoded the irregular motion of the moon, an insight lost to time until astronomers like Kepler rediscovered it 1,500 years later. We've learned it was powered by a single hand crank. One rotation could fast forward the heavens by decades. The front displayed the zodiac and lunar phases, the back held spiral dials, counting eclipses and the Olympic Games. We know how it functioned, but not who imagined it. No inscription names its maker. No text explains its birth. Was it a gift for a scholar? A teaching tool? A temple's celestial clock? Or a single genius preserving the math of the stars? And just as suddenly as it appeared, it vanished. After this device, history goes silent. The knowledge that built it was never seen again. Then came centuries of darkness, empires collapsed, workshops burned, and libraries turned to ash. In the fires of Alexandria and Pergamon, the delicate bridge between numbers and stars was lost. Slow, hopeful rise. And yet the sky remained, the patterns endured, waiting for humanity to look up again. Even now, teams across the world build replicas, test theories, and scan every millimeter, hoping to decode its final secret. Some call it the world's first computer. Others, the lost soul of ancient science. Beneath the waves of Antikythera, time sleeps, but not silently. And if you listen closely enough, you might still hear it ticking. The echo of a mind 2,000 years ahead of its time. Thank you for watching, and for keeping curiosity alive. Subscribe for more forgotten technology, ancient ingenuity, and stories that prove the future often begins in the past.